I spent the next week digging through every document I could find. The divorce settlement, old tax returns, business records. What I discovered made me sick. Daniel had been using Lily's new husband's company to hide investments, moving money around in ways that looked suspiciously like money laundering. My daughter wasn't just cruel. She was complicit in something illegal. I was documenting everything when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Stop digging, or the truth about your past will come out. You know what I'm talking about. My hands shook as I read the message. They were threatening to expose something from years ago, a misunderstanding that had been twisted into a weapon. When Lily was 16, she'd told her school counselor that I'd neglected her. It wasn't true. I'd been working 2 jobs to keep us afloat after Daniel left, and Lily had been angry about the divorce. The investigation had cleared me completely, but the rumor had damaged my reputation. Now I realized Lily had been using that old story for years, slowly poisoning people against me, painting herself as the victim of a neglectful mother. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything that had happened, trying to understand when my relationship with Lily had become so poisoned. In the morning, I went to my mother's old belongings, boxes I hadn't opened since she died 5 years ago. I was looking for something, though I wasn't sure what. In a box of letters, I found an envelope addressed to me in my mother's handwriting. To be opened when you need the truth most. My hands trembled as I broke the seal. Inside was a letter dated 3 months before her death. My dearest Helen, I'm writing this because I fear I won't have the courage to tell you in person. I love Lily, but I've watched her manipulate situations since she was a child. The counselor incident wasn't a cry for help. It was calculated revenge because you wouldn't let her skip school for a concert. She's learned from Daniel how to control narratives, how to make herself the victim. Please protect yourself. Don't let your love for her blind you to what she's capable of. Love always, Mom. I sat on the floor, crying for the first time since the wedding. My mother had known. She'd tried to warn me. The dream came again that night. I was back at the wedding, but this time everyone stood with their backs to me. I called out to Lily, to Daniel, to Claire, but none of them turned around. I was completely alone, invisible even when I screamed. I woke up gasping, sweat soaking my sheets. But something had shifted inside me. I was done being pushed to the corners, done being silent while they destroyed me. The next morning, I wrote an email to my family lawyer, Mark Stevens. Subject line: concerning Daniel's estate and Lily's inheritance. I detailed everything I'd discovered about the illegal transfers, the money laundering, the manipulation. Mark called me within an hour. Helen, if even half of this is true, we're looking at serious legal issues. But you need to understand, if you pursue this, it will destroy your relationship with Lily permanently. I think that relationship was destroyed a long time ago. I just didn't want to see it. All right then. Let me dig into the financial records. I'll call you in a few days. That night, my phone rang. It was Lily. Mom, please don't do something you'll regret. Her voice wasn't scared or apologetic. It was threatening, cold in a way that made my skin crawl. Mark confirmed my suspicions within 3 days. The transfers were illegal, part of a scheme to hide assets from the IRS and defraud investors in Daniel's company. If you bring this up officially, Helen, the entire thing will blow open. Daniel could face prison time. Lily could be charged as an accessory. I thought about my daughter, about the little girl who used to climb into my lap and ask me to read her stories. Where had that child gone? When had she become this person? Do it, I told Mark. File the complaint. That evening, Daniel and Lily invited me to dinner at an expensive restaurant downtown. To talk things out, Lily had said sweetly on the phone. I went, wearing my best dress and my calmest smile. Throughout the dinner, they worked together to gaslight me, rewriting every memory of our family. You were never there for us after the divorce, Lily said. I had to raise myself. You pushed me away, Daniel added. Made me feel worthless. I had no choice but to leave. I listened quietly, nodding occasionally, letting them think they were winning. As dessert arrived, I stood to gather my things. Then I placed a small digital recorder on the table between them. I think the truth sounds better when it's replayed, I said softly, and walked out. The recording was damning. Admissions of the financial schemes, discussions of how to discredit me further. Even casual mentions of Claire and why she'd been dealt with. Mark took the recording to both the police and the IRS. "This is enough to open a formal investigation," he told me. "They'll move quickly." But that night, I found my mailbox ripped open, my mail scattered across the yard. My garden, which I'd tended carefully for years, had been trampled. Someone had spray-painted LIAR across my garage door. The message was clear. They were trying to scare me into silence. I called the police, filed a report, took photos of everything. Then I called a security company and had cameras installed around my entire house. I wouldn't be intimidated. 2 days later, I saw the headline in our local newspaper. "Beloved philanthropist's mother under scrutiny." The article painted me as a delusional woman making wild accusations against her successful daughter and ex-husband. Lily's PR team was working overtime, spinning the narrative to make me look unstable. The article mentioned my history of neglect allegations and suggested I was seeking revenge for being left out of Lily's success. I read it 3 times, feeling my reputation crumbling with each word. The emotional breaking point came that afternoon. An unmarked package arrived on my doorstep. Inside was one of the original wedding photos, professionally printed and framed. But something was wrong. I stared at it, my vision blurring with tears. They'd edited me out completely. Where I had stood in the corner was now just empty space, as if I'd never been there at all. I sank to my kitchen floor and sobbed for the first time in years. Not just for what Lily had become, but for the relationship we'd never have, for the daughter I'd lost to Daniel's manipulation and her own ambition. I cried until I had no tears left. Then I picked myself up, washed my face, and looked at the photo again. That's when I noticed it. In the mirror behind where I'd been standing, barely visible in the reflection, was Lily's face twisted with rage, caught in the moment before she composed herself for the camera. They'd edited me out, but they'd missed her reflection. They'd made a mistake. And suddenly, I knew exactly how to fight back. I called Jacob, the photographer. "Do you still have all the raw files from the wedding?" "Everything. Why? How would you feel about doing a photography exhibit?" Jacob met me at a small coffee shop to discuss the idea. "I've been wanting to do a show about authentic moments," he said. "The real emotions people hide at weddings and celebrations. Unseen moments of joy and pain. Perfect. I want you to include photos from Lily's wedding." Then edited versions. He looked uncertain. "That could cause problems. It's art, Jacob. You're showing reality versus the facade people create. It's important work." We spent the next 2 weeks planning the exhibit. Jacob reached out to a local gallery owner who loved the concept. The show was scheduled for the following month, titled Unseen Moments of Joy, The Truth Behind Celebration. I didn't tell anyone in my family what we were planning. Meanwhile, Lily and Daniel continued their campaign against me. I lost friends who believed their stories. My church asked me to step down from volunteering. My reputation was in tatters. But I stayed silent, waiting for the right moment. The gallery opening was scheduled for a Friday evening. The local arts council was sponsoring it, along with several businesses. I looked at the sponsor list and smiled. Daniel's firm was one of them. They had no idea what was coming. The night of the gallery opening, I arrived early wearing a simple black dress. The gallery was beautiful, walls lined with Jacob's stunning photography. Wedding moments captured in raw honesty, a mother's tears, a father's pride, a bride's genuine laughter, and also the darker moments people try to hide. Jacob had arranged the exhibition brilliantly. It started with traditional beautiful shots, then slowly revealed the hidden emotions beneath. Guests began arriving. Local journalists, art critics, photography students. Then I saw Daniel and Lily arrive with Elaine. They'd come because Daniel's firm was a sponsor, not knowing their own story would be on display. They mingled, champagne in hand, admiring the photos. I watched from across the room as they moved through the exhibit. Then they reached the final section. Jacob had saved Lily's wedding photos for the end. The title card read, "The Performance of Family." The first few shots showed the polished, perfect ceremony. Then came the candid shots. Lily sneering. Daniel and Elaine's mother holding hands. Me, pushed to the corner, the sadness clear on my face. The final piece was a video installation. Jacob had synced the audio from the rehearsal dinner with photos from the wedding. Lily's cruel voice filled the gallery. She'll finally know how it feels to be replaced.